So you said that you were people's bosses.
Yeah. Bosses, plural.
All right.
I was just the boss. The boss of multiple people, yeah.
Yeah. That's right. I don't know, mate. I'm just a monkey that sits in front of a microphone. And I also recall you once saying that you threw a chair at someone. So I'm just wondering
I didn't throw it at
I'm wondering
somebody.
where this, like, if you're the boss of someone, at what point it becomes acceptable to throw a chair at someone.
No, you're making me out to be a tyrant. I didn't throw a chair at anyone. I did throw a chair, which I know sounds like if any of my like old work colleagues that listen to this now, they'll be like, I remember that time. That was just because I was so. There was a point to get serious for a second, to get philosophical. I think people, when I say, thanks to people for watching my videos, I'll be like, you don't realize how much it means to me. I don't think people know how much it does mean to me, because I used to hate that job so much that I would go into work in the morning, like not on the verge of tears, but like so
like demoralized.
So yeah, demoralized, but almost worse than that. And it used to escalate to the point that I'm so glad I started doing what I did, and it got to the point that it did when it did, because I wouldn't have been there now regardless, because I would have either quit, got sacked, because it got to a point when I'm not. People see my videos and stuff, right? I'm not hot tempered or anything, Like I'm not certainly not violent, but I got to a point one stage where I think I'd just been talking to some bloke who was complaining about losing money, probably, which was 90% of what it was. And I remember getting up, and there's like a long office, and I remember, like those office chairs, because the bank I worked for was a cheap bank. I remember just grabbing it by the back and just hoying it down the thing, like off the floor, and then like being taken off somewhere. I had like a bit of a talking to, but I just didn't give a shit. I don't think by that point, like I hated it so much. I hated like being involved in this world where all people care about is money at the expense of everything else. So people would like, you'd be speaking to somebody on the phone, they'd be complaining about you'd see their account, they made 400 grand in a year from trades or whatever.
Yeah.
And they'd be complaining that they've been charged too much commission, 20 quid commission instead of, they called it X amount of time that day, or they wanted to do a trade online, which is cheaper commission, but they couldn't do it online for X, Y, Z. I want this commission. And you'd be thinking, you made 400 grand in a year, and you're talking to me about 10 quid, you piece of shit. You know what I mean? And like that over time, that it's like attrition, right? It wears you down, and you think, this ain't what I want to do with my life. And that just got the better of me one day. And it was an inanimate object that I threw, and I didn't throw it at anyone. I just threw it because I was mad.
I get that. I think there's probably something inspirational within that story there to say that you've got out of the position that you were in. No, but I think a lot of people can relate to what you just said about, driving to a place of work that you don't particularly enjoy, or, like it's that attrition every day, and it just like wearing you down, and it's hard. You get into ruts.
You're not meant to do it, are you? It's not natural. I used to say to Lynn's, like back when we were, because that's one thing I got out working there. I met Mrs. Beard, right? Yeah. So there's one positive, I think. But I think I used to say it like I think I've been born in the wrong century. I would rather be like a nomad. You're born and you farm and whatever you live off what you grow. I'd probably be useless because I'm terrible outdoors. But I hate this idea of you going into an office with this fucking horrible artificial light, and you sat at a desk all day talking to people about money. What kind of life is that? You know what I mean? But you get bogged down, don't you, by the fact that you've got to pay your bills. You've got a car to pay for. You've got a family. Well, not of kids, but you got stuff to take care of, haven't you? Like, so you don't want to take that jump and leave.
I remember that transition from like leaving like high school to then like real life, and it was like a massive reality check. Like nothing really prepares you for the responsibilities of life, Yeah. I was very, very lucky that I chose to go to sea. I went to sea for like 8 years. So like in that process, there was so much stability with sort of finances. So I got paid to go away. I also got fed, watered. Like, so I was kind of...
Watered? What, you like an animal?
Yeah.
He put you in like a room and just hose you down?
Yeah, everything's covered in it. So like food and accommodation, travel, everything's covered. So I was very lucky to transition through my adulting life in that space. Whereas like, I remember when I first actually left high school and I went and worked at a job for a year, and I remember leaving high school where I was with my mates and I was enjoying it, to then going to a job, and I remember driving from like where I lived to another town in winter to work as like an engineer's assistant, and I used to have to jet wash like forklift trucks down, and in the fucking winter. So I'd drive in the dark. Do you know what I mean? Like I'd drive to work in the dark, freezing, and I'd have to stand outside, like hoodie on, overalls, jet washing these fucking forklift trucks down in a warehouse that were freezing. I'd be all there under artificial lights all day, and then I'd drive home. And I remember thinking, like, is this life now? Like, is this what adult life is?
Yeah.
And I was still living at home, and there's no chance that I moved out, because it's like, how the fuck can you afford to move out?
Yeah. It's bad enough, back then, 10 years ago, whatever it is.
So
I don't know how people do it now.
I can't imagine what it's like now. So I remember at that point, that's when I said, I've got to do something like drastically different. And that's when I signed up to go away. And it was the best thing I did, because I got to travel the world, meet people, got a trade. Like, it were amazing.
Enjoyed a lot of those brothals, didn't you? When you what do they call it? When you birthed or you anchored at the coast.
Like a girl in every port, and like the old sea shanties.
I'm joking. I remember that's why I did my, I have like a, whatever it is now, Reps Level 3 personal trainer qualification thing. Because I did that while I was there, because that was going to be my out, because like the only thing I gave a shit about when I was at work, outside of work, was I just loved training, right? And like I found it really interesting. So I was thinking, I'll leave this job, when I qualify, I'll leave this job and I'll go and I'll work minimum wage in a gym somewhere, as like a PT.
Yeah.
I'd rather do that, because I'd be happier than talking to rich knobheads all day. I
think I guess the nugget of gold we've got to try and pull from this is, when if you are in that position and you are working in a job, a 9-to-5 job, there's so much bullshit online, and like Instagram accounts like Entrepreneurs Doses or Entrepreneur Daily, where they're like, work 9 to 5 for someone else and 5 to 9 for yourself. And it's very, very difficult being self-employed. Like that comes with its own problems, because it's all on you. But if you can, on an evening or a weekend, try and upskill yourself in any capacity that could earn, like as a PT or learn videography or whatever you're interested in, there will be a career option there. And there's so much stuff on YouTube now to learn. Like, you can learn everything online. So I think worst time ever in as I've known it as an adult, because we're going into potentially a recession and whatnot, but also the best time for you to upskill yourself, because it's all accessible online. So I guess that's the silver lining.
Is that you pulling out a silver lining there?
I'm trying to, because if not, we're just talking about how shit it will working for someone.
I did warn you that I had nothing positive to say about this working for the bank.
You said there might have been some funny stories of sacking people though. You've had to sack a few folk.
I mean, it's never, nobody, I did have to, way more people than I ever actually would want to sack. Could you imagine me sacking somebody? Firing, if anyone's listening from America.
No, I can't imagine you sat across from me going, you're underperformed today, Josh. So the people, I can imagine you just going, the people above me said, you're out. Sorry, mate.
No, I'd never blame it. No, I'd never blame it on anyone.
All right, okay.
I think it called me the Grim Reaper at one point, because I fired about like 7 people in a year. And I never used to, I'm not laughing about it in the sense that I certainly didn't enjoy it. You don't want to that's a job, right? Somebody might need to live. But there's a point when, if your job is to be somebody's boss and they're not contributing, and that goes on for a long period of time, you have to give them the boot, and but yeah, like it was almost like performative as well, because like the real me is like, you see me on videos, right, or like you see me now, right, predominantly I have bad days, right, but you almost have to be like kind of not a character, but you have to leave your body in some way in order to
perform the act.
Because like I'm not an aggressive, I'm not a confrontational person unless I think people are taking the piss with me. Or the train conductors. No, but yeah, I remember, I will tell, it's not a funny story. It's funny because he was sacked for a reason, which was, you should never get sacked for this reason. I sacked somebody for sexual misconduct, working at a bank, of all places.
Right.
So there was a kid that, right, he must have been like, I'm trying to allow you to picture him. He was like 5'2".
Same as you.
Probably, yeah. He made me look like a giant, right? And he was a nice kid, right? But really young. And he frequently made mistakes. It's a complex job, right? It's hard to learn, and you get paid peanuts for it, right?
That's interesting. That will give me my next question.
At the bottom rung, right, you paid fuck all for it, right? And so obviously you're the manager, right? The boss, you got to help him, like, take you under my wing. That was it. Like, the whole carrot and stick thing. Like, you did that wrong, but like, I'd never be like a fire and brimstone kind of guy. Like, oh, you fucked up. It's only money, right? Just get it right next time. But he had made so many mistakes at this point, despite help, that he was borderline anyway, right? he was like, you trying to impress upon him every time you have a private meeting with him, like hanging by a thread here, mate. And then that one day, one of the girls in my team, she came up to me, she's like, I don't want to get you in trouble, Adam. I'm not this kind of person to make a fuss or whatever. But this kid keeps winking at me, and I'm like, who keeps winking at you? And she tells me who it is, and I'm like, winking? And I'm thinking, well, he doesn't have a tick. Or I've not noticed any kind of facial tick. And I said, all right. I said, well, I'll keep my eye on it. Thanks for bringing it to my attention. No big deal. And then as I investigated, it turned out like he'd been saying really weird, kind of inappropriate stuff to women like at work. And so I take him aside. I'm like, look, I've had a few complaints from, because this has been the first person that came to speak to me about it. And then a couple of other people did. And people from other areas would be like, this kid keeps winking at me and it's making me feel uncomfortable. I'm like, right, do people still wink? It's not like 1930s. It's like, what's
wolf whistling?
Do you think you are Clark Gable or something? Who winks? Anyway, so yeah, it became a problem. So I had a little talk with him. I said, like, look, you're at work, mate. We're not in the club. It's not Friday night, right? This ain't where you pick up women. And I said, I realised that by this point I was dating Mrs. Beard. So I realised it's a bit hypocritical coming from me. But I did all the groundwork was done, kind of outside work, or most of it. So I said, just stop doing it. I said, you're already hanging by a thread here, mate. I'm like, just stop it, right? Yeah. The easiest thing in the world to do is not wink at people if you don't have some kind of facial tick, right? Stop doing it. Yeah, are we all good? Don't make a problem for me. I won't make a problem for you. Anyway, it goes on, and I remember one night the same kid, I had to, I used to work the late shift to cover the the overseas markets, so like the US market, because the hours of operation are different. Yeah. One night was a quiet night. And I remember him sat there rapping. He was like rapping like California Love or something. He's singing the rap. And I'm like, shut up. Like, what? This is the point where I'm like, why are you, like, it's a quiet office. Why people just, talking about what they're doing this weekend.
Is there dropping a beat in the corner?
Why are you beatboxing and rapping along to, like, admittedly, as far as rap songs go, a good one, but stop it. And he'd be like, eh. Anyway, I remember it got to the point where it continued. So I had to have like an official meeting with, HR reps and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so I tell this woman what he's been up to and stuff. And we're sat in this meeting. I'm like, this is last chance saloon, right? This is it. You're gone after this. And he says to me in front of this woman, I'm like, stop winking at women. Why are you doing this? It's not the place for it. I've told you not to do it. Stop it. Stop it. And he just goes to me. He's like, yeah, but you know what it's like, don't you, Adam? This is in a meeting where he's about to get the sack. And I'm like,
it's like, you get it, don't you, top shagger?
I'm like, no, mate. I said, if I was going to, I didn't say this in the meeting, but I'm thinking, like, if I was going to try and pick up a girl, the last thing I'm going to do is go, like, what? Anyway.
You're like a shit pirate.
By this point, the rep that's in with us sees this behaviour. And yeah, but after that, it was like, nah, he's not getting the picture. He's got to get the boot. So yeah, I ended up having to sack the poor kid. I remember, like, when he left, he was like, oh, my mum's going to be so disappointed. But I gave you every opportunity. The only thing you had to do was not make predatory sexual advances upon women. Like, it's not that hard,